got a toddler here? No? Well, very good to be sort of emanating that, because every toddler has got a sort of an air of fussiness to them. It's when it happens. So coming and getting that, sort of arming yourself with information is much better than actually going in blind. There we go. Is that better? I've got two children, aged 10 and 13, so I've been through the fussy toddlerhood, but look, all through their lives, setting up good starts and the good balance from the very start is really, really important. So today, if there's a couple of key points to take away, is that everyone is in that boat, you're not alone, and if you can get a good balance and a good start in life, you'll set them up for fantastic habits in adulthood. Who believes they're a fussy eater here as an adult? It's all right to put a couple of little hands up. Look, we have our likes and dislikes, as do little children as well. But, there's not, as a fussy adult, if you're getting the balance right, it's okay, but children need a little bit more intervention. So, as an overview for today, there are changes in toddlers' growth. So even if you've got a 6-month-old or a 3-week-old, getting this information and knowing that once your child turns 1 and that 1 to 2 years, there are major changes going on. The importance of getting the balance right, this is the physical and the dietary energy. So there's a little bit of confusion when people talk about energy. So, we want energetic children, but we're told not to put too much energy into them via their food. Looking at the 5 food groups, and there's been the dietary guidelines have been rehashed in February 2013, so there are some major changes there. So who's actually started their little ones on solids? Yep, so about 2 or 3 years ago, it was very different to how it is now. So I'll go through that as well. Setting up great habits and some hints to take home. So the first thing is, your child will triple their body weight in the first year of life. So whenever they're born, if they're born at 3 kilos, they'll end up at about 9 to 10 kilos by 12 months of age. As soon as they turn 12, that 1 to 2 years of age, they put on between 1 and 3 kilos. So that actually changes their appetite. So they eat everything that's not running faster than them when they're below 12. But as soon as they hit that 1 year of age, they seem to exist on air. And people come to me and say, my child's not eating anything. But they are actually, their appetite does drop a little bit. So their growth is a series of spurts and lulls. Their appetite surge 1 minute and switch off the next. And this has an effect on the amount they eat. Who overindulges on Christmas Day? Everybody. Who overindulges on Boxing Day? Oh, I'm hoping that. Well, that's adults. But what little ones do is they eat everything on one day and then they appear to eat nothing the next day. But it's what you've got to look at is taking their intake over a week or even 2 weeks, not just looking at one particular day. So by 12 months, has anyone got a 12-month-old, or does anyone know a 12-month-old in a family? No, not yet. I've got so many parents who come to me saying, I'm cooking 3 different meals. Like something for dad, something for me, and something for the toddler, and something for the baby. By 12 months, the toddler really should be eating a derivative of the family meal, not cooking so many different meals. But you watch the salt, the fat, and the sugar. Infants, which are your under 12s, shouldn't have any salt or sugar added to their diet. So their taste buds are really, really intense. So when you see when they're eating something and their little faces screw up, they've got little nerve endings on their taste buds, and they're very, very intense. Whereas we've killed ours off with curry, heat, alcohol, hot soups, coffees, etc. So their main meals should be made up of protein, starchy carbohydrate and vegetables. Now, small meals and regular snacks are really important. If you look at your little one or any of these little ones around here, their stomachs are the size of their fist. So I've got a lot of parents who say to me, I don't let them snack between meals, but they can't get all their nourishment in just breakfast, lunch and dinner. So you really need to keep them snacking. And it's every 3 hours, every 2.5 to 3 hours. Has anyone been shopping and they think, oh, I'm starved, but by the time they go to Westpac, Medicare, somewhere else, you think I'm not hungry anymore? Has that ever happened to you? Well, we have about a 20-minute lag time to keep our appetite going. They have about 7 minutes. So you might find that they're going, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. You're in the car, you're heading home from a shopping trip, but you've got 20 minutes in the car. By the time they get home, they're not hungry anymore. And that's because their appetite has switched off. So it's really important to watch that timing. And this can be the whole problem with having dinner too late. A lot of parents say to me, the wheels just fall off at dinner time. I can't seem to feed them anything, they don't want anything, the plate goes on the floor. Sometimes you might have to pull that meal about an hour forward, or even give them like afternoon tea as their main meal because they're getting too late and that time has gone. So the typical age of food fussiness. I'm not seeing any sort of 18 months old, but I've seen them walking around here. There you go. Hello, darling. So 18 months to 3 years. This is the hard yards for parents. This is when they do go to parties. They taste sweet muffins. They taste sugar. They've got ice blocks. They love Nanny and Poppy or Grandma and Grandpa. We call Grandma and Grandpa the New Age Santa Claus and Santa Clausette because they're always showering them with lollies and bits and pieces. That starts to tarnish their taste buds, and then they come home and have cauliflower and broccoli and meat, and then that tends to go on the floor. So watching what they actually have. So kids have their favourite foods. I mean, by the time they get to toddlerhood, they like their favourite sleep toy, their favourite sheets, their favourite item of clothing. How many of you have seen, the little ballerina going through the shops or Spider-Man going through the shops? That's because Mum hasn't been able to get him out of the clothes to get to the shops, and she's just thought, well, line of least resistance, let's just go. And that's his favourite, outfit. They have their favourite foods. So you put something like, a lovely chicken stir fry in front of them. All they want is that pasta that they had the night before, but they can't explain it. They can't tell you what it is, so they say no and they push it away. But we just need to keep up that sort of variety. So fussiness is a problem if your child's overall food intake is dramatically reducing, or their diet is unbalanced, or they're avoiding whole food groups, or it's affecting your child and parent relationship, or they're unwilling to try new foods. So you can see there's so many different types of food fussiness. The white food eater, the fear for trying something, the avoiding like liquids and solids together. There's so many different ones. So it's important to set up a healthy balance. This is good nutrition and physical exercise as well. Ensure the right balance of nutrients. I say aim for 15 different types of foods. Now, how many of you think you eat 15 different types of foods in one day? Most of you go, oh my God, that's impossible. But if you think of a cereal with milk and some fruit, morning tea might be a different type of fruit with a bit of yogurt, lunch might be sandwich with bread, butter or margarine, a little bit of meat or cheese with one salad item, you're already up to 10. So it's not that hard. And 9 times out of 10, people who come to see me leave going, I don't have a fussy child, I've just got over expectations. And ensuring your toddler's diet is balanced. Now, energy. No one wants a non-energetic child, but energy means 2 different things. So energy from food is calories or kilojoules, the amount coming from protein, carbohydrate and fats. But physical energy is the amount you spend, and that's your balance. So bringing in too much energy and not expending enough, that's where weight gain is. Not bringing enough energy from those good foods and expending too much, they don't put any weight on. So it's really this hard balance. So that will bring me to a toddler's appetite. So they have that small stomach, but kids know when they're hungry, and so they know they'll reach out for things, they'll ask you, they'll take things off your plate. That's them saying, I'm hungry, I need to, but they don't know that word, so it's really hard to watch for these signs. What's missed in one meal, they'll make up the next. Parents fear if they don't eat dinner that they're not going to come out of it the other end. But, at the end of the day, if they miss their dinner, they've probably made up their whole entire nutrients from breakfast, morning tea, lunch, afternoon tea, and maybe just a little bit of fruit for dinner. So don't get too concerned, because these guys go to bed quite early. It's when you start replacing meals or going and making a Vegemite sandwich for dinner at night because they won't eat their meal, that's when fussiness will really start to take hold. So the variety is the 5 food groups, and as I said, it's the 15 different foods within these groups. But the major nutrients that little ones in Australia today are missing is iron and zinc. Now, iron and zinc run your immune system, and that transports oxygen to your brain. Iron and zinc come from meat, chicken, fish, egg and legumes, and that's one of the hardest groups to get into kids. So you'll see these little ones with big rings around their eyes, they're tired, they get lots of ear infections, colds that just keep getting bigger and bigger, or more repetitive colds. Their iron and zinc is low. Calcium for your bones and your B group vitamins to unlock the food. So the 5 food groups, all still the same: breads and cereals, fruits, vegetables, dairy foods and meat and alternatives. But now probably the most important part of my talk is what is a serving size for a child. No one really knows, until they come to something like this. So your breads and cereals for your toddlers, so that's a toddler 1 to 2, 2.5, up to about 3 years of age, they need 4 serves of this per day. Now a serve is half a bread roll or 1 piece of bread. Is about 4 crackers. Sorry, these are looking a bit dodgy because someone picked them up and had a good crush of them yesterday. A cereal biscuit. So I've got 1, 2, 3, and something like half a cup of pasta or rice. That is a toddler's entire bread and cereal for the day. So if they have a sandwich, there's already 2, and a bit of rice and pasta, they're done. And these are your carbohydrates. This is your sort of like gives them that fuel. If they don't have, like if kids don't eat these foods, you can always find, you can have more pasta or more rice. You don't have to have bread, you can use something else. So it's very, very interchangeable. So your meat and alternatives, as I said, children don't get their big molars, their big chewing molars till 3 years of age. So they eat this sort of stuff, they chew and chew and chew, or they'll store it up what we call in their chipmunk cheeks, or they store it in the roof of their mouth or in the back of the couch when they go and sort of get up from the table. It's hard to chew, and having a big piece of meat that you and I chew is like us having a tennis ball in our mouth. They don't have those molars to chew, so they spit it out. It looks like a piece of gum and they don't get the nourishment. So cut things in little 1 centimetre by 1 centimetre pieces, or use things like corned beef or lamb chops and things that you've scored, so they just take off the very, very small amount. So 30 grams of cooked meat is that. That's all they need. That with maybe 1 egg would be all they need in a day. So if you make French toast with your Vegemite, if they love Vegemite toast for breakfast, make it French. So you get egg is actually in the bread, and then you only need half of that for lunch and half of that for dinner. So it is quite easy to get their nourishment in. Or half a cup of baked beans, which would be this, or you've got 60 grams of cooked fish. If they don't eat any of this category, don't despair. You can use things like the baby rice cereal, using hummus, or using some sort of legume to be using that instead, using tofu in stews, or using something like a toddler milk or a supplement or something along those lines, and use it in baking. So if you make pikelets, muffins, scones, pancakes, use that sort of the Farex or the baby rice cereal, or even a normal cereal in your baking to fortify, and then you're getting that iron and protein. Your dairy foods, this is where the dietary guidelines have changed. This used to be 3 serves a day. It's now dramatically reduced to 1.5 serves a day for a toddler. So that is 250 mils of milk, or 200 grams of yogurt, or 250 of custard, or 40 grams of cheese. And it's 1.5 of these serves. So if they've got a little bit of milk on their cereal, and they've got a little small cup of milk at dinner and 1 slice of cheese, that's all. That's all they need. What I find is a lot of people come to me and say they have 3 cups of milk a day. That's too much, and it's displacing, or it's taking the place of other good foods. And those children tend to be very constipated with no fibre. So using extra cheese or yogurt if they don't like this group, or making things like smoothies are fine. Fruit, this is 2 serves a day, but actually equates to 1 normal piece of fruit. So again, giving your children 2, 3 and 4 pieces of fruit a day is just going to give them diarrhea or bloating or gastro, and they get very, very upset. So half a piece, medium piece of fruit, or a small piece, or half a cup of canned fruit, or a tablespoon of sultanas. So that's one of those little tiny mini boxes, but you know, these sort of boxes, that's actually 2.5 pieces of fruit. So and that goes straight through the nappy as we've all opened it up and gone, wow, that's gone through untouched. Now vegetables. Vegetables, the taste buds in a little toddler's mouth, the bitter and sour are the last 2 taste buds to develop. That's why they spit broccoli out, that's why they spit, you know, cauliflower out, Brussels sprouts, beans, etc. How many dads in hearing distance don't eat their greens? No one's with it. What I say is, if you don't eat your greens, your children won't eat their greens. They look to dads. Believe it or not, they look to dads for, you know, shall I eat this, dad? So please step up to the mark. So 1/4 of a cup of veggies is really only that. That's a serve. So once you've actually got that grated into their spaghetti bolognese and in their meatballs and things, it's not too hard to get. But you can also use, a serve of vegetable is a little half tin of this. So if they're having a full tin of that, that takes its protein and iron as well as their veggie for their fibre. I'm just finding that the gastrointestinal, irritable bowel, bloating and bowel upsets and constipation and diarrhoea is becoming very, very consistent in my clinics on a regular basis. Tips for filling in nutritional gaps with the vegetables: grating carrot and zucchini are your basic ones into pasta sauces, chopping them bite size and putting them on a skewer so that you've got those different sort of varieties. Cook into muffins or bread loaves, make smoothies, or use a fibre supplement. Please don't put broccoli into a mud muffin, a chocolate muffin. It just confuses children and they get used to a chocolate flavour. In the States, they've actually got a vegetable fairy floss spray. That's just the demise of vegetables in our diet. So the extras are fats and oils, which are your wonderful avocado, and use butter or margarine depending on what's in your house. It's your choice. So an example of a balanced day, as I said, was porridge and with milk, with some fresh fruit and cheese, fruit and yogurt, a sandwich with some sort of protein in there, carrot cucumber sticks with some crackers, or a fruit smoothie, and spaghetti and meatballs with grated vegetables. This can be about half a cup, half to 1 cup. They only have a very small stomach size. So how do I know if they're getting enough? Height and weight, which is perfect. Keep a food record for at least a week, and could you just pass me that little brochure there? If you keep a food record for at least a week and just check off against the food serves, these are exactly as I've actually had them up there, you can just check to see which group your child's not actually having. This is a really easy one to do that. And food fussiness is short term. You don't see an adult sitting there still having their blended foods, although I haven't actually assessed every adult. But if you're worried, check with your GP, dietitian or child health nurse. So setting up good habits, regular meal times, that regular timing of their meals. Eating in a high chair, don't let them run around, their appetite switches off and they've got choking as a problem. Minimise or avoid non-nutritious foods, 1 family, 1 meal. Importance of snacking, they must have 3 meals and 3 snacks. Don't bribe with food, especially dessert. You can hear in my voice, if you eat dinner, you can have some ice cream. Where do the children hear? They hear this bit up here. It's like, let's go and see Dorothy. You have to say, when you eat all your lovely food, we can go and play a game. So bring that voice down, although it makes the game sound like it's going to be really boring, but it's trying to put the focus on the food. Encourage to try new foods and don't distract. So remember, from 12 months, weight gain slows and appetite changes. Look for those realistic portion sizes. Balance the dietary energy with physical energy using the right portion and serving sizes. Healthy snacking. Be a great role model. Start small. Just 1 pea on the plate is all you need to get them to try peas. Look at a week's intake and check their growth patterns. Fussy eating is temporary, and if you're concerned, talk to your healthcare professional in your local area. So pick up a copy of this. They're free on your seat. Danker at the back has got some samples if you wanted to try using things like the toddler milk or a supplement in any of your cooking. And I'm actually over at D4, which is just at the entrance, for the next hour. If anyone has any nutritional questions, dietary questions about yourself, what's coming up, any member of your family or your little ones. Thank you so much for attending today.